Today's lesson is the grasshopper. Hi, everybody. My name is Roger.
And my name is Helen.
And today we're going to continue talking about the Anton Chekhov story, The Grasshopper. Okay, so of course, a grasshopper is an insect that hops all over the place, and people can do that too. As we're looking for the next best thing, we're not satisfied with what we have, and we just keep looking for something else. The other man's grass is always greener.
Right, so we're never happy with what we have, and that's the case with Olga Dimov. She really loves to surround herself with artists and creative people, but then she marries somebody who is not artistic, but he has other very, very valuable qualities, and soon she allows the fact that he's not artistic to get in the way of their relationship. She doesn't appreciate him anymore, and then she brings tragedy, she brings grief and problems to her relationship.
Exactly. So our story is going to continue today. Where we left off, of course, we were talking about the fact that it was only a matter of time before she met someone with a passion for art as deep as hers. So let's listen now to the first part of our lesson today, and then we'll come right back.
That someone turned out to be a handsome painter named Ryabovsky. Osip remained devoted to Olga, even as she spent more and more time with Ryabovsky. When the painter invited Olga to spend a summer in the countryside, she couldn't refuse, and when he pushed to deepen their relationship, she didn't resist.
大家好，首先看到第一部分，我们来介绍形容词 devoted， 它的意思是深爱的或是忠诚的。例如 Brian is a good husband and a devoted father. Brian 是个好丈夫，也是个深爱孩子的父亲。又或者说This band has many devoted fans who buy all their albums. 这个乐团拥有许多会买下他们所有专辑的忠实粉丝。另外，这个字去掉字尾 d 就会变成动词 devote， 它的意思是将点点点奉献给或是投入。举例来说 Samantha devotes most of her spare time to her music. Samantha 把她大部分的空闲时间奉献给自己的音乐。再举一个例子 Ryan works during the day and devotes his evenings to studying.Ryan 白天上班，晚上则将时间投入在学习。
So as we mentioned before in the last sentence of yesterday's lesson, that it was only a matter of time Olga would meet someone with a passion for art as deep as hers. Now that someone turned out to be a handsome painter named Ryabovsky. So that someone in this sentence refers to the someone or the person that would make her change her mind about her husband and attract her to this other person. The phrase here, turned out to be, means to discover that something is true or that something happened. So that somebody turns out to be. We didn't know who that person was going to be, but it just so happens that this person is a handsome painter and his name is Ryabovsky.
Right, okay. So, for example, I could say I've been working in an office for many years, and later on I found out that my coworker is actually a distant relative. He turned out to be a distant relative, and I didn't really know it. So, of course, in this case, that man who had a passion for art like hers turned out to be a handsome painter named Ryabovsky. And Osip remained devoted to Olga even as she spent more and more time with Ryabovsky. Okay, so Osip, of course, again, is the doctor husband. And he probably knows that she's fooling around behind his back a little bit, but she remained devoted to her even as she was going out into the country with Ryabovsky all the time. If I were a husband, I'd probably be concerned about that. But in this case, he remained devoted to her. If you're devoted to somebody, you continue to be supportive of them, you continue to be with them, and you forgive them for what they're doing to you. You might be devoted to your family, you might be devoted to your company. You just don't give up on those things. You are dedicated to those things.
Yes, and Osip remained devoted even though Olga was spending more and more time with Ryabovsky. And that must have raised some questions in Osip's mind. Why is my wife spending so much time with this artist? So when the painter Ryabovsky, invited Olga to spend the summer in the countryside, she couldn't refuse, and when he pushed to deepen their relationship, she didn't resist. So when the artist invited Olga to spend some time with him over the summer, she, of course, would have trouble normally to go because she's already married, but she couldn't refuse because she was in love with this artist. And later on, he pushed to deepen their relationship. So initially, maybe they were just friends and they were flirting with each other, but now he wants her to become his real girlfriend to make the relationship deeper. She didn't say, no, I can't, I'm married. She didn't resist. So to resist means to stop yourself from doing something even though you really want to do it. She didn't resist, which means she went ahead and did it.
Right, so most of the guys out there know about this situation. Of course, you want to deepen your relationship with the girl you've been dating for a while, but you haven't done anything romantic yet. So in this particular case, he pushed to deepen their relationship. Maybe he started sitting closer to her and he kind of put his arm around her and got his face closer to hers, and eventually they were kissing. And in this particular case, she did not resist. She did not say, "What are you doing? Don't do that. You're a bad boy. You're not a gentleman." No, she didn't resist. She accepted it, and she even probably kissed him back. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson for today. Let's move on now to the second part.
Unfortunately, once Ryabovsky had Olga's heart, he grew bored with her and became distant and cold. Through it all, Osip sent Olga sweet letters, and as her relationship with Ryabovsky declined, Olga knew she had to return to her husband. Back home, however, she kept thinking about Ryabovsky. She stopped showing interest in Osip, even when he earned a promotion due to his research. Soon, she began following Ryabovsky at night, and Osip, suspicious of his wife's behavior, could no longer look her in the eye.
第二部分我们看到动词 decline， 它的意思是减少、衰落或是下降。例如 The number of species in the ocean declines every year. 海洋中的物种数量每年都在减少。又或者说 As Tim got older, his interest in video games declined. 当 Tim 年纪渐长，他对电玩游戏的兴趣也逐渐下降。下一个我们看到名词 promotion， 这个字的意思是晋升、升职或是推销、宣传。例如 If you want to get a promotion, you have to work really hard on this project. 如果你想得到晋升，你必须努力完成这个计划。或是 There is a promotion for a new computer game at the department store this weekend. 这个周末这间百货公司有一场新电脑游戏的促销活动。另外补充这个字的动词 promote, P-R-O-M-O-T-E, promote. 它有推广、宣传或是促进的意思。例如The school is promoting a program that teaches students about proper eating habits. 学校正在推广教导学生正确饮食习惯的计划。或是 The organization uses social media to promote its cause. 这个组织用社群媒体来推广事业理念。再来我们看到形容词 suspicious. 这个字的意思是怀疑的、猜疑的或是觉得可疑的。例如 Melinda says that she believes Nick.But I saw a suspicious look on her face. Melinda 说她相信 Nick, 不过我看到她脸上有怀疑的表情。或是 The bank was investigated for suspicious transactions. 该银行因可疑交易而受到调查。
Unfortunately, once Ryabovsky had Olga's heart, he grew bored with her and became distant and cold. So we know that Olga didn't try to resist Ryabovsky's advances. When he tried to deepen the relationship, she didn't resist, which means that she entered into a relationship with him, into a romantic relationship. However, once that happened, once Olga fell in love with Ryabovsky, he quickly became bored with her because he had her now, so he didn't have to chase after her. It was already something that he was able to have. And he grew bored. He no longer thought that it was fun being with Olga, and he became distant and cold. So maybe he stopped talking to her, he stopped being affectionate with her, he stopped seeking her out.
So he's kind of a grasshopper as well. Maybe he had the desire for Olga, but then once he was able to be romantic with her, he took it for granted and he got bored with her. You could say he got bored of her. And as a result, he became distant and cold. And as you know, he's a handsome young painter. He probably has lots of different women to choose from. And through it all, Osip sent Olga sweet letters. And as her relationship with Ryabovsky declined, Olga knew she had to return to her husband. So this is one dedicated husband. He's a devoted husband. He still sent her sweet letters, even though she's two-timing him with this artist in the countryside. He still continued to pursue her as his wife. And then eventually her relationship with the handsome painter declined. If something declines, it just is not as prosperous or not as good as it used to be.
Right. You can say that a country's economy is declining, which means that it is getting worse and worse. So decline just means to fall back or to become worse. Now, back home, however, she kept thinking about Ryabovsky. So Olga has gone back home to her husband, but she couldn't help but think about this handsome young artist. She stopped showing interest in Osip, even when he earned a promotion due to his research.
Right, and a promotion, of course, just means an advancement in your particular field. If you've been working at a certain position and getting a certain salary, maybe your boss realizes that, hey, you're actually pretty talented. I'm going to give you a promotion. I'm going to give you a different position in the company that has maybe more responsibility, but of course it will come with some increase in your salary. So yes, indeed, he earned a promotion, which did not impress her. She was not interested in him just yet because she had stopped showing interest in him. And soon she began following Ryabovsky at night. And Osip, suspicious of his wife's behavior, could no longer look her in the eye. So I guess she just wasn't giving up on the handsome artist. She began following him at night. She was probably thinking, oh, there must be some way to win his heart again. He may be bored of me now, but eventually he's going to realize what a great catch I am. All I have to do is just keep pursuing him.
Yes, and in the meantime, she didn't even appreciate the fact that her husband was doing so well in his job, that he was being recognized for his research. She cared only about artistic merit and what Ryabovsky was doing. So as she followed him around at night, Osip became suspicious of his wife's behavior. When you become suspicious, you believe that someone has probably done something wrong. So you could be suspicious of your boyfriend or your girlfriend cheating on you, which means you think that they are cheating on you. It's not necessarily true that they are, but you have this suspicion, you have this belief that that's what's happening. And Osip is suspicious of his wife's behavior. She might have been acting strange or going to places when she should have been at home, and he could no longer look her in the eye. Look her in the eye is a phrase that means exactly what it seems to mean. When you look somebody in the eye, you look at them in the eye when you talk to them or you listen to them. But it also means that what you are saying to somebody is true, or that there is some kind of honest connection between you and the other person when you look at each other in the eye. When you're unable to look at someone in the eye, it means that you have lied to them, or you have been lied to, or something really negative has happened between you and the other person.
Right, so to look someone in the eye can also be expressed as to look someone in the face. For example, someone might say, because of what you've done, you won't be able to look at anybody in the face again because it's so embarrassing, it's so terrible, the thing you've done. So you won't be able to face anybody in the future. You will be so embarrassed about yourself. And in this particular case, he just did not trust his wife anymore. Maybe she told him she was going to study painting with this painter, and he did not suspect that they were romantically involved. But now he was suspicious of her following him around at night. So, of course, as a result of that, he was suspicious of her and could not look her in the eye. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Let's wrap things up now by listening to the third part.
The day Olga caught Ryabovsky with another woman, Osip fell gravely ill with a disease he caught from a patient. This finally opened Olga's eyes, and she realized that she loved only her husband. Sadly, though, it was too late. Osip died as Olga could do nothing but blame herself for shortening his life.
最后第三部分，我们看到副词 gravely， 这个字的意思是严重的或是严肃的。例如 Gary was gravely injured in the car accident, and the doctor said it would take a long time for him to recover. Gary 在那场车祸受伤得很严重，医生说他必须花很长的时间复原。或是 Carlos is gravely ill and may not have much time left. Carlos 病得很重，可能不久人世。
So Olga was following Ryabovsky around at night. Meanwhile, Osip was feeling suspicious about his wife. Now, one day something happened. The day Olga caught Ryabovsky with another woman, Osip fell gravely ill with a disease he caught from a patient. So one day, Olga found Ryabovsky with another woman, which showed her that he had absolutely no interest in her and that he liked playing around with women. But at the same time as this discovery, Osip also fell gravely ill. To fall ill means to become sick. Gravely means seriously. So he fell seriously ill, and he fell ill with a disease that he caught from a patient.
Right, so here gravely is the adverb form, and grave, of course, is an adjective. It just means it's very serious. It's something that we should be concerned about. This is a grave situation. Something needs to be done about it. And he fell seriously ill or gravely ill with a disease that he caught from a patient. And this, of course, is a risk that doctors take. When they try to care for sick people, there is a risk that they may catch the disease that their patient has. And, of course, we need to respect doctors for taking that chance for our health and safety. And this finally opened Olga's eyes, and she realized that she loved only her husband. So I guess she felt sorry for her husband and realized that, oh my goodness, I'm going to lose my husband. I've already lost the handsome painter. I thought he loved me, but now he's chasing after another woman. And now my husband, who was sincere and selfless, he's going to pass away. So she probably felt really guilty. And this finally opened her eyes. She realized that she loved only her husband and that she was being a fool by chasing after that handsome artist.
Right. When something or somebody opens somebody else's eyes, it means it makes that person see the truth. So finally, Olga was able to see the truth that her husband was a great person because he spent his life helping people, healing people. And Ryabovsky, on the other hand, didn't do much and hurt a lot of people. So Olga finally saw the truth. This situation opened her eyes, and she realized that she loved only her husband.
Exactly. So here the next sentence says, sadly, though, it was too late. Okay, so of course she realized she loved only her husband, and she thought, well, all I got to do is say sorry, he'll forgive me, and we can go back to our normal lives again. But it was too late. He was too sick, and Osip died as Olga could do nothing but blame herself for shortening his life. So yes, indeed, the doctor passed away. He died. And Olga could do nothing but blame herself. So if you do nothing but, that just means you only do something. I could say she could only blame herself. But for emphasis, we can use this particular phrasing. She could do nothing but blame herself. She could only blame herself, and she couldn't do anything else.
Right. I could also say I could do nothing but laugh, which means the situation called for laughing only. There was nothing else that I could do in that situation but laugh.
Exactly. So, yes, she realized that she was probably the reason for this. That may not be true, though. He's, of course, caring for patients who are sick. He may have gotten sick and died anyway. But still, this would make anybody feel guilty, especially after you've been two-timing someone behind their back, and then you find out that they're sick and then they die, that would make most people feel very guilty about having cheated on that other person, so she could only blame herself for shortening his life. She blamed herself. It's my fault. If I hadn't done this, he would still be alive, caring for patients and going to those parties with me and trying to chat with those artists and musicians and writers.
That's right. So that's the lesson that the grasshopper illustrates. It illustrates the idea that it's not good to think that the grass is always greener on the other side.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. Here comes Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。第一天的课文有读到 Olga 把丈夫对艺术不感兴趣视为一个重大缺点，她遇到和她一样热爱艺术的人，这只是迟早的事。那么今天课文一开始就写到说 That someone turned out to be a handsome painter named Ryabovsky. 结果那个人是一名叫做里亚伯夫斯基的英俊画家。好，那这边我们要介绍 turn out 的用法。turn out 表示结果是，最后演变成什么什么，用来带出事情的发展或是最终结果，尤其是指出乎意料的结果哦。好，那以下要介绍几个相关句型。第一个是像课文的用法，我们可以用 turn out to be 加名词，或者是可以加形容词，那就表达说最后成为什么，或者是最后被发现点点点，可能是具有某种身份啊、特性或是能力等等。举例来说 The movie turned out to be a disaster. 那部电影结果变成一场灾难。好，第二个补充的句型是 It turns out that 主词加动词，这是表达结果发现怎么样怎么样。像 It turns out that they have known each other for a long time. 结果发现他们已经认识很久了。第三个补充的句型是 As it turns out逗号主词加动词。那这样的句型呢，可以用来说明某事的后续发展有令人意外的结果或情况，就类似中文说的结果是怎么样怎么样，结果证明怎么样怎么样。例如 As it turned out, they were right to have left early. 结果证明他们早点离开是正确的。好，那么读到课文第三部分的最后一句，他有提到说 Osip 死了，那么除了怪自己害他短命之外， Olga 他无能为力。那文中是用 could do nothing but， 或者是我们可以用 can do nothing but 后面接原形动词去表达除了点点点之外什么都不能做，只能怎么样怎么样。好，其中的 but 在这边是表达除了什么什么之外。那这个句型常常用来表达无计可施而只能怎么样的情况，像是 we can do nothing but wait，我们除了等待什么都不能做。好，那也补充一个意思相近的句型是 have no choice but to 加上原形动词，这可以表达不得不怎么样，除了什么什么之外别无选择，只好怎么样怎么样。好，那这个句型当中的 choice 它指的是选择权，选择的可能性，我们也可以用 alternative 或者是 option 来替换。好，那么 but 在这边也是表达除了什么什么之外的语义，不过在这边后面是要接不定词，像是 They had no choice but to sell their house. 他们别无选择，只能把房子卖掉了。好，以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天单字吧。
Devoted. Marcia is a devoted mother who always puts her children first. Resist. Felix couldn't resist the desire to eat chocolate cake for dessert. Decline. The health of the patient declined rapidly after the operation. Promotion. Despite working at her job for several years, Wanda has still not received a promotion. Suspicious. I'm suspicious of his motives for offering to help us. Gravely. The scientist warned that the chemical spill could have gravely negative effects on the river's fish.
Discussion starter starts now!
Here's our discussion starter for today. The question is, have you ever wanted something and then regretted wanting it? If yes, what was it? If no, how have you avoided having that experience?
No, I haven't had that experience. I think I have avoided it because I always make sure when I want something that I really want it.
Right. Well, I did regret wanting something, or I did want something really badly and then regretted wanting it. When I was in high school, I wanted to buy a used car. It was a 1967 Chevrolet Corvair. My parents were kind of against the idea. The car was not in good condition, but I thought, I can fix it. I can do some body work on it and work with the engine and stuff like that. And of course, later on, I realized that, I think this is a bad idea. So I regretted wanting it, and I had to tell the person that I was no longer interested in buying it.
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you enjoy reading along with us. I am Helen.
I am Roger.
See you next time.